In the Round is all about highlighting musicians on their music journey. Whether they're local, regional, or touring coast to coast, they all have great stories to tell. We're looking for the stories that allow us to get to know them in a different light. The funny, the heartwarming, all the lows and highs, and of course the music that was born from that journey. Hey, I'm Dee, I'm a musician, I'm a music lover, and I'm your host. Let's jump right in.
Yeah.
What's got 6 legs, is green and fuzzy, and when it falls out of a tree, it can kill you.
Oh, what?
A pool table.
Oh my God.
Wow.
This is why you have him in the band, right? Just for
Yeah.
banter.
Just have him in the band. That's all he is to me.
That's it. We just have him around for the jokes in between.
Yeah.
Are you from Cedar Rapids, right? No.
No,
You're
St. Paul.
just St. Paul, yeah.
Oh, you're a St. Paulian. Okay. Do you have
I
family
think they call
in
it
Cedar?
St. Paulite.
Do they?
I don't know.
Oh my God. St. Pauli.
So I
Paul.
grew up in Marion, Iowa.
You grew up in Marion. That's what, yeah.
Mostly. And
Yeah.
then went to Drake and then moved to Minneapolis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the rest is history. No, the rest we're going to talk about.
We're going to
actually.
talk about it. Yeah.
Molly Brandt, Eric Carranza, welcome.
Thank you for having
Did
us.
I say it right?
No, say it again.
Wait.
With a C.
Carranza.
Carranza.
Oh, I said it. I have it right here. Let me do it again. Ready?
Can you roll your R's?
Yes.
Okay.
Carranza.
There you go.
Okay.
That's it.
Welcome, Molly Brandt and
Thank
Eric
you.
Carranza.
Hello.
So glad to have you here.
We're happy to be here.
We just got done with an amazing session at the Cave. We don't always do our In the Round performances offsite, but it was so fun to go to the Cave, which is a cool wine bar in Des Moines. You guys just killed it.
Oh,
And-
yeah.
That's
That was
fun.
really fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I love the cave.
Yeah. And unfortunately, this podcast is coming out 2 weeks after your performance there, but tomorrow night for
Yep.
us, and
Quite
this
all right.
time you're playing there. Can't
We
wait to go
are.
see you.
Yeah.
Play as a duo. So Molly, you're a transplant. You're up in Minnesota, but you're an Iowan.
I am an
at
Iowan through
heart.
and through. Yeah.
But
I'm
slowly converting to Minnesotantianism.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah. I
yeah.
even got the accent kind of seeping
getting it.
through
I
my
hear it.
life. Yeah.
It's hard not. It's kind of
It'll come out.
comforting. It's kind of comforting to lean into. I
Yes.
feel like. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. No, that's amazing. So, I'm actually fangirling a little. I'm glitching right now. We've been hanging out all day, but now I'm still like freaking out.
Dude,
'cause
back at
you're-
you.
We have crushes on each other, you
Yeah.
can tell. But truly, it's been so much fun to dive back into your music. Your last record, your most recent record, American Saga, is truly like top 10 this year for me. I mean,
Oh my
it's
gosh.
just so
Thank you.
good. Brooke can attest to this. I was like, you have to listen to her record because it's just
Thank you.
beautiful. The production on it, which we're going to dive into more because I know you're into that. But I also went back to your previous Surrender the Night album, which was delightful to go back through. And I just digging into your story. Let's do that. First of all, I want people to know that Molly Brandt is an Americana, kind of alt country. I saw a quote that said alt twanger, which I loved.
I like
That
that.
term,
Yeah.
like alt twang. What I also caught, especially in your American Saga album, was there's like tinges of psychedelics in there. No, well, psychedelics. I meant psychedelic music, but also probably actual
We
Really?
laced the
psychedelics.
album
I mean-
with psychedelics.
If you listen to it, it will engage your senses. I'll say it that way.
Yeah.
And a little bit of, there's some blues grit. And then I wrote Magic in a Bottle because
Oh my
that
gosh.
is you.
Well, yeah, I think that's the vibes we wanted to put out there. So
Yeah.
I'm glad that y'all are taking notice to it.
Yeah, absolutely. I that really came through. And just, again, that record just came out. It's pretty fresh. September, I believe, is when that came out. And that's kind of when I feel like you and Eric really dove in a little deeper in terms of like you having a little more input maybe on certain elements. And,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Eric wasn't really on the last record. I hadn't met Eric yet, or I
I'm on
kind
a few
of
songs.
I met him like right when we were kind of finishing it
Yeah.
up, and but yeah, this was a bigger opportunity for us to try to collaborate, and I think that was the biggest piece of this album. It's just as much his record as it is mine because of all of the collaboration we did.
Yeah. And what I love is that's how you like locked him in as a partner, even in life, right? You're like, hey, be on all my records.
I sent him my music, and that's how I reeled him in.
Nice.
Yeah, I think. Well, that was.
I mean, you heard her
one
sing,
piece.
right?
That was one piece of it. Yeah, there's more.
I'm sure anyone. I mean, you are a siren. Anyone who hears your voice is immediately just like, wow, because that's totally. You have an amazing, like, this traditional, but at the same time, like, new age voice. But it's just, I hear, it's like the spirits of Dolly Parton and all these people.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, she's not dead yet, so I don't want to say it that way, but yeah, you know, like bringing in all these like traditional, like old school singers in there, but put your own flair on
Pretty
it.
much what I was raised on is like the either classic country or just like the 90s, 2000s country. And so I'm glad it's coming through.
You had a great quote about that. You were you mentioned, I don't remember which article this was, but that you grew up, you know, listening to classic country, but then a lot of us sort of rejected it when it started lacking depth and became pandering. And I was like, oh, that is so true.
Yeah.
I think that's what I tend to shy away from country for that reason, because I feel like so much of it kind of turned into gobbledygook, you know, when we were growing up.
It just all sounds, a lot of the pop country, like commercialized, like it, to me, it all sounds the same, or it sounds the same as it did like 10 years ago. And I don't even think I was like shying away from country just because like I think I was reaching my, you know, late adolescence, early adulthood and wanting to explore like different types of music. But I think going to festivals in Iowa brought me back. Like Hinterland, I went to Hinterland for the very early years of Hinterland and discovered alternative country, basically. I saw Margot Price playing there. I saw Charlie Crockett, all these other artists that were really showing me something different, but still like kind of adhering to my roots. And I was like, wow, you can make country cool again, like, and smart and interesting.
And not just recycled. Right. No, that's I love that about how you were like reclaiming it and kind of taking it back, and I hear that in what you're doing, and it's like really relatable, but still you can close your eyes and imagine exactly what you're talking about, you know, like old Northern Woman, that song, you know, some of those songs that you've written just kind of takes you right back to that, you know, where there's like, you can envision a scarf on the lampshade type thing, you know, it's just, it's really visceral.
I think the imagery is really important to me when I'm writing a song.
And that comes through. And I also wrote, you know, kind of along the lines of like, how do we create culture, right? I feel like something you touch on a lot is like, it's an American sound. Like you almost don't assign a genre other than that. You know, sure, it's roots, it's these things, but like it's American. And I was like, gosh, it's so true. It's like you're again kind of capturing that in a bottle of like, what is cult? Like what is it to be American? And,
I've certainly had those interview questions of like, can you define Americana? And I'm like, I don't know, man.
No, Google it. Leave me alone.
No one knows what it means, but you know it when you hear it.
Yes, which is all genre stuff. I actually kind of. It's always nice to give some context, but it's like, you know, I kind of hate genres at the same time.
No, we have that conversation all the time of just like, can we not be put into a box and just kind of explore the edges of what Americana means? Yeah, and so we were trying to, I think Eric really pushed me to explore just different tones and vibes and grooves. I don't know.
Yeah,
say something on
record. That. Yeah. You definitely did, Eric. So I'd love to.
Okay. What was the first song we started with on this album? Mr. Texas, maybe.
Well, we were working on Ashes.
Oh, Ashes and One Lane Bridge.
Yeah. But then it was Mr. Texas. And Nicotine. Yeah, and kind of when you showed me that on Nicotine, I had been singing it just with acoustic guitar, and it was kind of like ballad vibes.
Yeah.
And then I didn't really have a sound palette in my mind. I was thinking of it as a country song, really. Then Eric was like, "What if we got some really dirty guitar tones on it?" And he showed me his adding on to my recording. I was like, oh my God, this is badass.
It felt like a rock banger to me. I knew it, you were singing it as a ballad, but I mean, I just heard it as just like a thump. Just absolutely thumping.
I wouldn't have maybe turned out that way without you.
See, but her writing does that. That's what I love about the way you write, Molly. It's like you're singing about nicotine, dopamine. There's this great like lyrics in there that actually could be really tough, but you have the sweetest like country voice. It's like sweetest voice ever about it. So sometimes it kind of takes like that's what's fun about this partnership is I think is you're seeing and hearing things that you don't necessarily, and so they fit together so well. Because it's so great to get that grit on there because that's like technically smoking's bad for you, right? But it's like everyone kind of craves it a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's that underlying grit that comes with that. And so, I thought that fit so well on that song.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was glad to have Eric's input on everything. And really pushed me.
I mean, you wouldn't have gotten there without the songs and the way that you wrote them and like that's what I love about this latest record in particular is there's all this like very modern stuff kind of sprinkled in, but what you're saying about is still like the tycoon song, like even the verbiage that you're using is still kind of old school in this traditional way, but there's these fun like little instrumental bits, like really truly the experience of the record, like the way that it flows is really artistic, and it was an experience for me.
Wow.
And I really truly enjoyed the production piece of it, in that sense. Like it was purposeful. You could tell that you were thinking about it and or you pieced it together in a way that just worked,
It just it sort of also just kind of came together too.
Yeah. I think we had like some talks about it as the songs were starting to kind of show themselves as what they were and
I remember my biggest piece that I wanted to try to do was take risks.
Yeah.
I think that's what pushes forward music and culture is the greatest artists we've ever listened to were like totally out of the mold of whatever people were doing at that time. So I think in Americana music, people can really try to take more risks than they are.
Right. Yeah, like exploring that other facet of yourselves because we're not 2D, right? Like we're very much 3D people, like more Ds than you can count. Yeah, so I love that, and just based on like some of the music that I enjoy the most day to day, I think that's what makes like your version of country, let's call it, so accessible because it layers in elements of rock and these other things, and it's really great, and the storytelling in the songs too is what's just so enjoyable.
The Cave DSM, Des Moines' natural wine shop and bar featuring accessible natural wines. Located downtown on Walnut Street, we offer European-inspired snacks and live music. Our knowledgeable staff can help you find your next favorite bottle. Stop in Tuesday through Sunday and learn more at thecavedsm.com.
I love that you had a quote about like you were listing everything that this American Saga record touches on: themes of addiction, misogyny, capitalism, death, abuse, and climate change. And I'm like, is there anything more American than that sandwich of
all that stuff? Yeah.
We're all feeling one or two or three of these at any given time.
Yeah. And some of those were from personal experiences, and some of those are from just like my views on the world and what's happening around me. So I think on the next record, I'm going to go even further with my opinions and observations and emotions.
Are you writing right now? Are you working on this?
Oh, I haven't been writing that much lately, but
it's a little fresh. It was like, that's...
Yeah, I think this year was a lot of focus on like the performing and putting out all the singles and doing all the stuff that comes with putting out a record. But but I've also been doing a lot of just consuming other content like movies, books, podcasts, and various things. Collecting my words. I have lots of words in my notes app or like voice memos and stuff. But I think it's time to start pumping them out.
No, it's so exciting. It's so I think you've done an amazing job actually of you put out Surrender the Night like in 2023 and then cranked this out in 2024.
We really cranked it out.
Yeah.
I had hard deadlines and just pushed it along and I know it was kind of insane to release 6 singles but I just
thought...
it was
great, though, actually.
Yeah, I think it was really fun because I had some very specific visions of not even specific, but I knew that a lot of these singles needed their own moment and their own aesthetic thing. So,
and that worked, though. I mean, and that's kind of how people consume music. We talk about this a lot. People kind of consume single to single. And so that's why it was such a delight to go back and listen to the record and hear the whole thing together, because the gluey bits in the middle, just like... It was rewarding, and I actually really appreciated that, because sometimes the album just ends up being a collection of singles. You hear that a lot now. And what I liked is no, you were giving us, these singles, but they were all pieces of a bigger whole and a bigger picture that really came through. I really love that. And you did all this going through a huge period of grief. You lost your mom, right? In January of 2023.
Yeah. Yep. Right around that time. And
when you were feeling the surge, I feel like feeling the momentum from Surrender the Night.
Or
wait, I'm getting my timeline wrong.
I lost my mom in January, February of 2023, and then I was working on releasing Surrender to the Night that summer, and then kind of throughout last summer, all the way to beginning of the winter. That's when the new songs came about.
Yeah.
But it was also because Eric and I had just moved into a house together in May of 2023. And that was really important because we have now a space to be creative together. Yeah. And not only that, I need my own private time to make my own songwriting happen. And so we have enough rooms in the house where I could go be by myself for a little bit and then come back and collaborate together. We spent many a night in the summer just sitting on the back porch, playing the songs, and Eric's like, "What if you did this?" And
just a notebook and a couple guitars out there.
Yeah,
It's one of my favorite times, right, as a musician, when you're in just pure catharsis, pure creation mode, and you just try different steps, throw stuff at the wall, see what sticks, kind of moment. And kind of form that vision.
Yeah.
And speaking of space, you mentioned that. Which I find this wild, digging into your history, that you're such a young songwriter in terms of you've only been writing since 2020, which is mind-blowing.
Even I actually didn't even write. I started really writing a couple songs in 2021.
Wow.
And I never thought, I always thought in my mind, oh, you have to struggle and you have to be doing this for years and years to get good at it. And but I think I had been collecting a lot of tools over the years because I've been a musician my whole life.
Yeah, right. And I should clarify that. You've always been in music. You've literally did that in college.
I've done lots of aspects of music. The only territory I hadn't conquered was songwriting. So I knew that I needed to do that. And it really, once I started songwriting, I was total revolution in terms of my own self-worth, I guess. Not even self-worth, but my own confidence and empowerment. And was oh, I can do this and I can use all the tools I've had. I'm still learning how to songwrite, but even though I'm a young songwriter, I can still make good songs happen.
Oh, yeah. Right. It's funny because I feel kind of what you said of you have all the tools and you were listening. You were listening to great music. You were studying jazz standards and playing that. And I feel that's what comes through. And it's different in using your own words, that confidence that you're talking about, or that, it is a little different when you get to explore your own thought process or feeling about something, or
it's like jumping off a cliff when you first show somebody one of your first few songs and you're is this even good? And it's kind of a really vulnerable thing where I didn't even know if I had it in me, and then I show few people the songs and they're this is good, and I'm okay, let's go. let's do it.
I know, I think and that's what I mean by, it's funny to say young songwriter, just mean it feels so fresh, but at the same time the way you write feels timeless,
Wow.
So I think
you're so kind.
Truly, I so appreciate that. We had Joel Sayers in recently, and he was being very complimentary of me, but everything he said, he actually said, "Yeah, Dinah, you write a children's song." I'm making fun of him. He was very complimentary, but I was yeah, I tend to write just whatever I'm feeling, like very, very transparently. But I love the storytelling that you do. And again, the characters you introduce us to, that's why it feels like kind of timeless, because it's, you know.
It's really fun to explore a fake story or a fantasy story or a character. Right. You can infuse your own emotions into that, but it's a little bit more detached from me as a person.
Yeah, I love that. Element of it. It's really fun.
It is super fun because you can think of all sorts of scenarios and words and phrases that you wouldn't necessarily think for your own emotions or your own story. But if I'm talking about the daughter of the oil tycoon, there's so many things I can say.
Right. Even though you're not the daughter.
No.
Oh, shucks. All right.
No, my dad jokes about that all the time. He's like, yeah, I'm the oil tycoon.
You're going to guillotine me?
Yeah, I'm going to guillotine my dad.
Well, and that's actually what I love too. You do incorporate some reality into your songs of like, I was listening back. Is it on Surrender in the Night that you sing about Eagles 34? Is that song?
Yeah.
Yeah, like that's a real place. And just the elements of that, you know, I feel like any musician who's been through and played that venue would be like, oh, yep, 100%.
Although some words of that song are also not like in reality.
Yeah,
like,
it's
there's
like,
not a chandelier. There's not a taxidermy loon on the wall.
You know what?
Although
just
there
wait.
could be.
Yeah, I was gonna say, just
there
wait.
could be.
They're
They
just
should
probably
have one
gonna
of
put
those. You know,
that's so amazing.
Yeah,
I love that element. I feel like it takes, you know, even though the listener doesn't necessarily know that, the people that do, it's sort of like a fun Easter egg, but then also it goes beyond the borders of reality, which is really fun. Yeah, I love it. So, and Eric, you play in several other groups as well.
I do.
You're in St. Paul. You're from St. Paul. That's how you guys met. Molly moved up there. Yep. You play with lots of different groups.
Yeah.
So some R&B, like you have a lot of. Is your background in jazz as well, or kind of no?
Yeah, you do though.
I do play jazz. I mean, I won a jazz award when I was 13 years old.
What?
I did.
Wait,
but,
what?
Yeah, just like for like a kid's jazz
you were
award,
like Skee-Ba-Dee-Bop,
I think it was because I was playing drums and guitar in the like school jazz group and excelling at it, I guess, at the time.
Wow.
So
that's amazing.
So yeah, but I wouldn't say my background is in jazz.
So
I play in jazz groups, but yeah.
You're on the wall somewhere, right?
I am on the wall somewhere.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I grew up with a lot of Brazilian music and James Brown, R&B stuff, Ray Charles, that kind of stuff that was my dad was listening to. But my mom was listening to a lot of country. But I don't know. I play whatever is the vibe of the day.
You play with Lady Midnight.
Yeah.
Lady Midnight.
And you do a lot of like experimental, kind of instrumental, weird improvisational stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, all sorts.
Yeah. So are you both doing this full time? You're gigging full time, but also doing lessons maybe?
So we're both private lessons, private music teachers. So that's kind of like one of the main sources of income.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. And allows you to keep gigging though. That's like,
absolutely.
It's so important to have that ecosystem, I feel like, of like, how do artists, we think about this a lot. It's like, how do you make sure artists get to play all the time or as much as they need to, but then also kind of sustain, you know, the day to day, because unfortunately it's really hard to just gig and survive anymore.
Tricky.
Yeah.
I've realized like year to year, the thing that is like actually like paying the bills seems to shift. Some years it is the gig. Sometimes the gig is just doing it, and then sometimes it's teaching or the other random stuff. Maybe it's recording, production, or getting a nice commercial song happening or something. But we don't get paid great for the gigs.
You know, we've been getting paid better this past year, but it's more traveling at the same time.
Yeah, that's what's tough is usually like, especially because I feel like you've had some like public success with these albums. I mean, you've been getting more radio play. Yeah. You won an award. Wait a minute. We don't want to skip that. You won Best Americana Artist for the Midwest Country Awards in 2023. Right? Yeah. So that was even before this record. I hope they just slot you right back in for
we'll have to find out, I guess.
Drum roll.
If they know what's up.
They know what's up. I'll call some people. No, So yeah, like seeing that success. So you want to tour out more, you want to, but then all of a sudden, yeah, it's like gas just eats that right up. So that's relatable.
Yeah, but I do want to be traveling, and I mean, we need to get a van or some sort. We need to get a bigger boat because places are wanting.
A boat. Yeah, don't get a van.
We should just travel by boat only.
I'm down.
We only play places along the Mississippi River.
Yeah, that's the dream.
Riverboat.
Yeah.
I've been wanting to do that forever, but the logistics are really, really messed up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially you got to learn how to run the boat. Yeah. You got to blow enough steam to power the steam.
Right. It's all steam powered.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's hard though. It's hard finding that balance. And so when you first moved up to Minneapolis, you were working at Electric Fetus, which is a record store there, which sounds totally cool and hilarious.
It's the best.
I love that name. Yeah. I think it's great when you can find those kind of professions. Like even being a teacher keeps you playing, right? And even working in a record store keeps you listening.
Yeah.
And that's something I wish I could personally do even more of. So I love that you're like investing in that again.
Working at the record store was so important for my development, I think, because first of all, I had just moved to Minneapolis, so I didn't really know a lot of people, and I felt right at home integrating into that group of people who worked there. And they play, all the cool new music that's coming out. It's not like Guitar Center where they have a constant loop of the same songs over and over again. It's like, and as as workers of the Fetus, we got to pick one album a shift that they could play over the loudspeakers. So if you're like, I'll listen to this record today while I'm working. Yeah, and we got to go to First Avenue shows.
So great. Yeah,
which is like, seeing other bands do their thing is super influential and important to me, and that like seeing people who are doing things where I'm like, I could do that and I want to do that is really important.
Right. And I feel like that's something that I saw too. I've always thought of you as an incredible musician, but seeing you like really lean into your style and the visual aesthetics of that. I've talked to other artists on the podcast about that because there is like something really special about that. I feel like it puts a polish on an artist, not in a like restrictive way or like boring way, but in a way that's like, this is really your vibe. I think it helps communicate that, like even the little twinkles you put on when you do photos and stuff, it shows us that you're not just straight country, you're not just, girl on a bale of hay in a truck or whatever, but it goes beyond that. And I think even the other artwork you've done with your songs and stuff, it's really cool. And I wanted to ask you about that. Like you've collaborated with a lot of other artists and Eric and things like that, but the visual aspects, who have you worked with on that, or how did that come about?
Some really good pals who do photography. So my pal Daniela, who I went to Drake with, and so I'm like, Daniela, can you do some pictures for me? And she knew this really cool place in Minnesota called Grandpa's Pool House. I'm plugging that place.
Amazing.
Because it's really cool. A lot of like mid-century vintage furniture and colors and stuff. So we went there for the Surrender to the Night photo shoot. Got to like they had a lot of costumes there too. And just got to like swim in the pool. And,
that's awesome.
My friend Madeline is a really good photographer, and we went to like an abandoned strip mall in suburban area.
So American.
That was for the dollar stores and strip malls thing, and she's helping me with the vision of it as well. I think working with designers and photographers is really fun, and it makes me want to it makes me wish I could also do it because well, and why Eric just got me a film camera that I'm trying to learn how to use. So maybe I'll be able to like make my own cover art through that. But I do really, I think I have an eye for aesthetics and design, and like I know what I like. I'm kind of like Rick Rubin, I don't do it myself.
See it, I know what I like.
Exactly. Like he's not an actual engineer, but he has good taste, and so I like to think that I have good taste, and if I don't like something, I'm not using that. So
no, I thought this like the album cover for American Saga was so perfect in that sense because it really like communicated to me your style, your like your music style, but also just your style in general. But it was it's great. Fun. It's a good, and you see a cover like that and you're like, that looks good on vinyl. That's just gonna look so good.
I don't know if we're gonna get vinyl though.
No,
it's so expensive.
Sorry, I'm yelling. Yeah. Wow, you gotta do it. Just
well, this one is like because the album is so long that it would have had to be 2 discs probably.
Which is there a more baller move than just going for a double LP?
I mean, we feel very strongly about the album, and we really enjoy it. But it is a massive investment to do vinyl,
absolutely.
And then space investment. Like you order a bunch of records, now we got to find somewhere to put them until they sell.
Absolutely,
it's a lot.
Well, I think the goal is for the next one to do that. We'll see. Yeah.
Have to chop some songs off of it and make sure it fits within the time limits.
It could be a shorter album but I've never been one to
serve the songs usually, not to
I tend to be verbose, and I honestly always tend to write longer songs, so I need to work on that. But wherever the song takes you, you know.
Yeah. Oh, we do that all the time. The host country, the joke is like, oh my God, it's under 5 minutes. You know, I mean, it's because it's hard. Yeah. It's hard to cut it down. Yeah. Usually we just want to keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we've been fortunate enough to be able to cut some vinyl. But to your point, we all have like 6 boxes at our house like right now, either T-shirts or vinyl or Poor Michael, our guitar player, has an apartment and he's still housing like 3 boxes of something. Poor guy. Anyway. I so relate, but it's been kind of fun to see the return of vinyl and people's interest in that, and you know, like again, artwork that can live, you know, on that. Yeah, it's kind of fun. Gosh, so you guys are planning to play more shows. You're gigging pretty consistently up in the Minneapolis area, St. Paul, and that's kind of the nice thing about being an even bigger metro is there's many
a lot
places
of opportunities.
To play.
Yeah, a lot of good places to play. We've been playing out in Wisconsin a lot this year in kind of smaller towns or, you know, rural areas and festivals and stuff. So I think we're going to be getting out to Wisconsin a lot more next summer too, and Iowa and just the Midwest overall. But I'm trying to apply to a bunch of festivals because I feel like that's always a really good audience to
absolutely
to show off to. But
yeah. And okay, I always ask this, what's your favorite road snack of the band or individually, but
I like popcorn.
Popcorn's good.
And those like dilly bites.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
Those dilly bites.
So good.
I go for fruit. Like
the
bananas,
little
berries.
cuties, oranges.
Yeah, cuties.
Cuties.
We're obsessed with that. Yeah.
I always joke about like, how do we get sponsored by like Molly Brandt sponsored by Cuties?
Oh,
like,
that's a good one.
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
We just
even
the
my visual
face
of that.
like on a little orange.
Yeah. No,
that's
I feel
fun.
like I'll make some calls. Okay,
Okay,
I'll make
cool.
I'll make some calls. Please
What's
do.
your favorite road snack?
Ooh, you know what? No one's put me on the spot and asked me.
Oh my God.
I'm a big sour candy person. Okay. Like, usually, for some reason, growing up, if I was ever going on like a little trip, my mom would get the like sour gummy worms, and so I like.
What did I just have recently? Razzle or something?
Ooh. Yeah.
What's the one where you like suck on it, but like the inside is like?
I think that is a Razzle,
and it like kind of like pops in your mouth, and it kind of like stings.
I think that is Razzle.
It's nice.
You give them the old razzle dazzle.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah, in your
it's
mouth.
Intense.
Yeah. No, I haven't had one of that. It was life changing moment.
I just want to feel something.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Oh my God. Yeah, Razzle. That's a throwback. I'm also a big chips. Just it's bad. It's we were actually talking about this the other day at lunch. There's a few at Trilix here. There's a few chip loyalists. They know who they are.
How dare you like chips?
Yeah.
Honestly,
it's an obsession. It's bad.
That's
it's
cool.
bad.
You like
That's so bad.
I know.
That's so bad.
It's so
like straight to
I can't
jail.
even believe I said that in public.
That's like really like risky of you to say.
Did you say whiskey or risky?
Risky.
It's Willy Whiskey.
Yeah, Willy Whiskey.
It's whiskey. I was like, I also like whiskey. But
that's a widowy.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so about to kind of write more songs. You're ingesting a lot of content, which I love. I feel like that's something You actually had a great quote about you don't write when you're miserable because you're too busy being miserable, which I thought was
it's
great.
hard. I think you write down your feelings, come back to it later. I mean, when I'm depressed, it's hard to like motivate myself to do anything.
Right. That is very true. But I feel like there's always a joke that like you get a lot when you're sad. It's it's like an emotion that gives you a lot.
I'm waiting for that to work on me.
No, I appreciated that you were like, no, I'm just busy being sad. I don't know what anybody's talking about. Yeah.
But that has its own merit too, because like you can't just be writing all the time because you have to live and like have experiences to write about.
And I used to get so stressed out about when I wasn't like writing and like, oh my gosh, I need to be writing some more songs or I need to be doing this. And now I'm just like, it'll happen when it happens. Yeah. And I think that's a way better approach to take.
Absolutely.
Because I am a whole person. I have all sorts of things going on in my life that are important to me. And I'm not just a singer-songwriter. So it's like, I don't put all my self-worth onto that anymore.
That's huge. Wow. Did your therapist graduate you out of class? Because that's amazing. No, I so appreciate that. But I also love the thought that you two are in an argument and then writing it down as it's happening. I like the flip side now.
Not really.
You're living your lives.
Yeah. Sometimes you'll just be like, oh, I feel bad. I'm not writing right now or something.
Well, I think I've come to the conclusion that like, it's okay.
It is okay.
It's okay. I've done a lot in the last 3 years. Yeah. So like I can just chill and read books for a little while.
Sometimes you gotta wait for the next wave, right? I mean, I feel like, you put out these just great albums back to back, and I think it's okay to let them ruminate. And I really hope that people listening to this go back and listen through Surrender the Night and all the things you've been putting out, because it's just great. And you have a music video coming out for Daughter.
Yes, by the time this podcast is out, it will be out.
Oh, amazing. Okay.
So it's coming out. We're recording this, and it'll come out November 29th.
Oh, delightful. Oh my gosh. Okay, so everyone's got to check that out. Oh,
it'll be on YouTube, and you can find the link on my website or whatever.
Okay.
Yeah, lovely. It's a video for Daughter of the Oil Tycoon, so it's really going to put the imagery of that story out there.
That. Yeah, that's great. Molly, Eric, thanks for hanging out. I'm so excited. Everyone gets to hear a snip of your song Nicotine, which is from your latest album, American Saga. Truly, I'm such a big fan, so I'm like really glad that you guys came down. And
it's really special to be here and to get to chat with you.
Yeah,
and
it's good to catch up.
See some other friends.
It's been a long time. Yeah. Wonderful. Well, thanks again. Yeah. Thanks, Eric. You guys just nailed it. Sick. Here it is, Nicotine.
Skee-Ba-Dee-Bop, jazz.
Just Skee-Ba-Dee-Bop, jazz.
Nicotine, you're making me lazy and blue, but I'm still in love with you. I'm still in love with you. Getting California sober.
In the Round is produced and recorded at Trilix Studio. Remember to subscribe to In the Round wherever podcasts are found.